being busy isn't why you're unhealthy. So I'm a board certified registered nurse health coach, which is a specialty within nursing. I've been an Air Force PTL, physical training leader. And I've also coached boxing and kickboxing in the past, a little bit of that. And I used to lead a community where people would meet up in the parks and work out for free. I called it Park Crashers. And so I've met a lot of busy people, very busy people, who have found a way to stay healthy, right? We're not talking about Olympic level fitness, you don't have to do that, but just generally healthy. People who are not on meds, staying out of the hospital, not obese, and just in general good health. And here's what actually makes the difference. So a lot of us are busy, and there are some that are more busy than others. And it's very easy for us to tell ourselves, if I just had time, I would work out or work on my nutrition, I would get fit. But if I'm being honest with you, this is not a reason, it's more of a symptom of identity. I would go further and call it an identity trap. You see, there's something very noble in accomplishing a lot or taking care of other people or doing well in your career, maybe having a side hustle or whatever it may be. That's all very good and noble. But it's very easy to get stuck in this identity that because I'm doing so much, I just don't have the time or the resources to take care of my health. But if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I went through a similar period in my life about 3 years ago. At that time, I was working full-time as a registered nurse, part-time as a contractor, and I was going to school at night to get my certification as a nurse health coach. My son was just born, and my wife and I were on the search for a business acquisition that didn't pan out, but needless to say, all that kept me very busy. So my weight shot up. I got up to about 199 pounds, which isn't enormous, but it's the heaviest I've ever been in my life. At 5'9", I was pretty chunky. I was sometimes using alcohol to deal with my stress, and my blood pressure started to creep up a little bit. So yes, my health was starting to deteriorate, even though I was a nurse, former Air Force fitness instructor, coached boxing, kickboxing at a CrossFit gym, and had my own fitness community in the past. And it was all because I was too busy. I had no free time, or so I thought. And that idea really wasn't broken, that identity really wasn't broken until I went to a business conference. And I met somebody at that business conference who is now a friend, who had a similar period in his life a couple years before mine, where he had his kids and he ballooned up and he completely transformed his health. And you know, the interesting thing was, he wasn't more qualified than me, not necessarily more qualified than me or more knowledgeable than me, though he's very knowledgeable in what he does. But it really came down to one thing, and that was whatever time you have to make use of it. You have to fight for your health with whatever time you have, even if it's just 20 minutes once a week, maybe twice a week, even if all you have is 5 minutes. Do something with those 5 minutes, and it'll snowball into something bigger. And if you think you don't have the time, make the time, even if it's 5 minutes. And so, despite all my knowledge and certifications and all this crap, I had to humble myself and just say, you know what, this guy's right. He's absolutely right. I'm not putting in the time, I'm not putting in the effort. I'm just making an excuse and making that a part of my identity. I'm the busy guy, look at me. I'm trying to do so much with my life. So after that weekend, when I came home, I made it a point to work out twice a week, and my goal was gonna be just 20 minutes each. That's it, and I don't care what it was. And some of you guys are thinking, what is 20 minutes twice a week really gonna do for me if I'm really out of shape, if I'm morbidly obese, or if my blood pressure requires medication to keep it down? Will 20 minutes really do anything? And because we're working on mindset in this episode, I want to borrow some mindset concepts from the military and from healthcare. And when I was in the military, I worked on fighter jets and I became a medic. I wasn't one of those guys who carried a gun for a living, the ones that they make all the cool movies about. And so if we think about snipers in the military, even if you don't know a whole lot about them, even in pop culture, there's a phrase that you hear, one shot kill. And what does that mean? It just means a sniper who's extremely efficient. Like, he's gonna hit the target on the first try. He's not gonna cause a lot of ruckus or pull off a bunch of shots and draw attention to himself. He's gonna get the job done and get out and save the day. And in healthcare, we have something called the minimum effective dose when it comes to medication. And I'll share a story. So I have a lot of injuries that required surgeries. My Achilles tendon was completely torn off. I tore my ACL, a meniscus. I've tore my rotator cuff, I tore my bicep. All of these things need to be sewn back in place to some degree, whether it was a partial or a full tear. Well, when I forget which surgery it was, but I come out of one of these surgeries and I'm in some pain. And the nurse asked me, how much pain are you in? And so I don't want to manipulate the system, and I don't want more opioids than I need. So I'm very transparent. I said, I'm a 5 out of 10 right now. It's very tolerable. And she said, we're going to give you something anyway. And I was thinking, well, I probably don't need it, but I went along with them. You know, she's the expert, she's the OR nurse. And this whole idea is, let's give Chris a dose of pain medications right now when it's a 5 out of 10 on the severity level. So we will take the pain almost away, almost completely, rather than waiting till it gets to a 7 or 8 out of 10 when the medication that we will have to give him at that point is a higher dose. And I'm asking you to do the same. I'm asking you to apply a minimum effective dose to your life. I'm not asking you to become an Olympic athlete. I'm not asking you to get a six-pack. I'm asking you to do the most minimal effective thing to stay out of the hospital, to stay generally healthy, to be there for the people that you love and care about in your life. So I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about the way you eat and the way you move your body. And when it comes to eating, I would encourage everyone to do the most minimal form of intermittent fasting. And so I'm asking everybody to not eat food or any calories for 12 hours of the day. This form of intermittent fasting, very minimal. And the easiest way to do this is, hopefully you're getting about 8 hours of sleep. So don't eat food for 2 hours before going to sleep and for 2 hours after waking up. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 hours, half of the day, you don't eat or consume calories. Be sure to talk to your doctor about starting something like this, but if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, this will do wonders for your insulin and glucose levels. Also, if you haven't incorporated something like this before, this will do wonders for you in general. The other thing I would say is, for 20 minutes twice a week, you're going to have to do some type of physical activity. And if you don't know where to start, I'm going to tell you where to start. This particular protocol is really great for people who haven't moved their bodies in a long time. And when I mean move your bodies, I mean like in a physical exertion type of way, activity, exercise, sports, things like that. Okay, so what you'll do is set a timer for 20 minutes on your phone or your watch, and you're just gonna go through a rotation of push-ups, squats, and sit-ups. Now you can approach this in a number of ways. You can do 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 sit-ups. Stop, take a breather till you catch your breath, until your muscle strength comes back, and go back to it again, and see how many times you can do that within 20 minutes. You can scale it different. You can do 5 push-ups, 10 squats, 15 sit-ups, mix it up, whatever works best for you, okay? You know, if you do something and it's so much of a challenge that you hate it, you're not gonna come back to it. And if it's too easy, you're not gonna benefit from it. So you have to find that fine medium. Another thing to keep in mind is, every one of these exercises can be modified for a different level of intensity. So let's just say you cannot do a proper push-up. Well, you can do a push-up against the wall. Almost everybody can do that. And you can do those until you can get to a level where you're no longer doing push-ups against the wall, but you're doing something a little lower, like maybe a sofa, until you can actually get parallel to the floor and do push-ups on the floor. And then if that's too easy, you can elevate your legs on the sofa to make it more intense. Okay, so let's recap real quick. I know you're busy, so am I, but don't fall into the identity trap that you're so busy you can't take a little time out of your week to take care of your health, okay? You can certainly do that. If it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, start small, shoot for twice a week. Now, when it comes to eating, hopefully throughout the entire week, you're gonna shoot for that 12-hour fasting period. It's not that hard to do. Sleep 8 hours, don't eat 2 hours before going to bed, and 2 hours after waking up. When it comes to physical activity, you're going to rotate through push-ups, squats, and sit-ups at whatever speed and whatever intensity level is appropriate for you. That 20 minutes twice a week will definitely do something for you. Personally, I'm down 12 pounds, my blood pressure is perfect again, and I've put on a bit more muscle. I've actually had to buy bigger shirts. So you got this, and this is the end of this episode, and I'll see you on the next one.